a coin has three sides, and in order to look at this market today, you kind of have to stand on the edge because there are lots of ways to make money right now in real estate. David, you want to expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think what people in our space, we hear a lot of, should I buy or should I sell? Should I buy or should I wait? It's always this binary approach to it's either this or it's that. And I think personally that perspective comes from stock trading, because you make money in stocks in one way. You sell it for more than what you paid for it. And so the buy low, sell high game is what happens when you're in like publicly traded investing, which for a long time has been the only way that the average American could invest their money. But with improvements in technology and the education space, this information's out there now. People can invest in real estate. They can make money through real estate that they never could before. And real estate, you make money in several ways. We make money from cash flow. We make money from paying down the loan. We make money from saving in taxes. We make money from paying less taxes on the money that we do make. We make money from appreciation. We have tools like refinances that we can use. Inflation tends to favor real estate a lot. So it's this sort of artistic approach to wealth building that's different than stocks, which is just there's one way in, there's one way out. You research the company, you hope that it goes up, and you buy something that you think is undervalued. So when people ask the question, well, is this a buyer's market or a seller's market? Should I wait or should I buy? That's an appropriate question if you're trying to figure out if you should buy Tesla stock. It's not an appropriate question if you're looking to buy real estate. Real estate is much more art than pure science. The question that I think people should be asking is, how should I buy in a market like this? What types of properties should I look for in a market like this? What should my strategy be in a market like this? And like you mentioned, Robert has this theory that you shouldn't say is heads right or is tails right. You should stand on the edge of the coin and look at both sides and then ask yourself the question of where are things headed and how can I position myself to succeed?
Everybody's laser focused on these interest rates and they think that, that is, and it is true. There's definitely some slowdown as a result of rising interest rates, but it's lack of demand as a result of that. We still have a massive supply issue, and I think that a lot of times people are just focused on one thing. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. And it's the lazy way of looking at stuff is you want to just say, well, what are our prices going up or prices going down? And that's the only metric that they're looking at. And the way I know this is madness is for the last 5 years, everyone in our space has been complaining nonstop that the market is so hot. There's bidding wars. They're having to waive their contingencies. They're having to write not just over asking, but how much over asking. They don't have time to analyze the deal. They don't have time to sit with it and think about how they feel. You got to go, go, go. And it's been very aggressive. Well, now that interest rates have gone up, we finally have brought some balance to the force. The market has cooled off. Houses aren't selling in 3 days. You got a little more time to think about it. You can compare your different options. This is what everyone was asking for. But what do we hear? Oh, this is ridiculous. Rates are too high. None of the deals work anymore. I can't find anything that will cash flow. The market's going to crash. I'm going to wait. And they found another reason to make the excuse of not getting into real estate. And I think that comes from the question of, well, should I buy or should I wait? Whereas me, I saw rates go up and I watched the market cool down and I went on a buying spree. I've got 14 properties in contract right now that have all been done in the last 30 days or so. And it's because I'm like, this is the best opportunity that I've seen to buy. I've been waiting for this for so long and it's finally here, but I'm doing great. And all the people that are sort of following us are still stuck on the sidelines, not knowing if they should jump in or not.
Well, and I think too, it used to be houses would sit on the market for 30 days, right? And nobody would think twice about it. Now it's like, oh my gosh, it's overpriced. Everything's crashing down. It's like, no, it's just sane again. And people are able to do an inspection, like you said, weigh a few different options, decide which one's best for them.
I think isn't the average listing historically like 4 to 6 months in each market? Isn't that kind of normal?
Historically, that's always been normal. Like when I was a kid, that's what you would see This was before the internet when I was really young. I'm not a dinosaur, but I remember a time without the internet. And so they would actually have to put the price of the house on the for sale sign. You remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, like Century 21, and it would say 249,000 or something like that, like on the sign. Well, they don't have to do that anymore because now they want you to go to the website, look it up. They can get your information. It becomes a funnel for them. But houses would sit for a long time. Buyers would go look at all the houses in town, or they would even, at one point before we had an MLS, they'd have to bounce from broker to broker and say, like, you show me your listing. listings and you show me your listings. This phenomena of houses selling in 3 or 4 days and waiving inspections and us even be able to get you a loan in 12 days, 14 days. This is unusual. Technology has improved rapidly and it's changed the way people buy houses and therefore the way they make decisions. But I would not say that's a healthy market. It's a huge decision to buy a house, to buy an investment property. It's not something that ideally people have to decide in, literally sometimes a couple hours. Houses hit the market or they've already got other offers and you got to decide how much you're going to write and how you're going to write it so quick. We finally are getting the break we've been waiting for. Buyers have a little bit of leverage now. The scales have shifted. And of course, the human brain that looks for reasons to be afraid comes up with all the reasons why. No, I got another reason I shouldn't buy real estate.
But I think sellers are just starting to wrap their heads around the fact that they're going to have to bring their price down, because we were talking about this earlier on our live, that people get greedy. So they don't just try to time the buying, they try to time the selling, right? So they know they've wanted to sell their house and they've waited, and then it's went up every month and they've waited and they've waited. Well, now you have a whole bunch of people that are freaking out because the market's starting to tip and they're like, oh, I got to list my house right now and I want to get this price for it, but maybe that price is overpriced, right? So they have to come down a little bit. So I think you're getting a little more inventory now than maybe you will in a little bit, like in a month or two from now.
I think you're exactly right. I think you made a great point that sellers get greedy also. And that as real estate investors, when we make decisions based off of numbers and logic, we're in an advantage over the people that don't educate themselves on how real estate works. The person that just wants to go buy that listing to live in it, that doesn't really know what's happening in the market. Their greed hurts them. The sellers that waited too long as they were watching prices go up and then they saw that prices started to come down, they're like, oh, throw it on the market right now, try to get it sold. That greed puts them in a position of disadvantage. And then us being the buyer at this time, we are in the position of advantage. I won't even look at a house that hasn't been on the market 30 days. I'm looking at stuff that I think has been sitting for a long time. I'm writing very, very aggressive offers, and I consider writing an offer in a market like this like a boxer that throws a jab. No one's trying to knock out their opponent with a jab. You do that to feel them out. You're trying to figure out how are they going to respond. I want to know, how desperate is this seller? Are they the person, like you said, Danille, that has another house in contract that made the cardinal sin of real estate where they bought their next house before this one sold, and that pressure is squeezing on them and they're not sleeping at night and they're fighting with their spouse and they know it's, hey, our house is worth more, but I want to be done with it. I'm looking for those opportunities in a market like this, and they're in that position, just like you said, because of greed.
You talk a little bit about, because this is when the professional investors start looking at things differently. Because I always believe, sometimes I buy something and I'm like, I can't believe anybody else didn't see what I see here, right? It just blows my mind. This is out for public consumption, obviously, and it's really what you see. Right, David?
So one of the things that I think people miss when the market's like this is that there are value add opportunities that you never would have got a chance to take advantage of because that house would have been bought by someone else. So there's a city called Castro Valley in the Bay Area that's known for really good school scores, really safe area. It's kind of surrounded by some not so great areas. So it gets higher than normal demand for people that want to live and want to rent there. It's usually, you can't buy anything. It hits the market, it's gone. So I found a house that is listed at 1,100 square feet. That's a 3-1. No one wants a house with one bathroom. No one wants 1,100 square feet. But I noticed that it had, just from looking at the pictures, it looked like it was built on a basement. So I sent my assistant by, and the agent had not put any of the pictures of the unfinished basement and the garage anywhere on the MLS because it's ugly and they didn't want that to deter people. It had recently had the price drop from $950 to $850, and the house looked like no one's going to want to buy an 1,100 square foot house, but it has a big bedroom with the square footage not included in the 1,100 and a massive basement and garage. I love that. I love converting basements. It's some of the cheapest ways that you can literally double the square footage of this house. And I don't have to build new infrastructure. There's no framing. There's very little plumbing. The plumbing and electrical I do run is very easy because it's on a raised foundation. That's a property that I'm going to write an offer on and likely lock up, that I'll be able to take from 1,100 square feet to probably more like 2,400 square feet, refinance it when I'm done and recover all my capital, have 2 to 3 units that I'll be able to rent out individually in a great neighborhood that no one else even saw. Like, and I'm looking at like, how do people not recognize? Like, but they don't know. I can convert that whole basement for 60 grand. Right. They don't understand that element of real estate. So there's a lot of examples like that. But I love when the market shifts like this, because everyone else gets scared. They all back out. And now stuff like this that someone would have paid asking price or more for that house with no intention to do anything with the basement in 6 months ago. Now I have an opportunity to actually go after it.